Water, it's everywhere, but what do we really know about it? At the Center for Echohydraulic Research right here in Boise, U of I researchers, they know a lot. Using a 60-foot flume in the basement of the Idaho Water Center, they study things like sediment transport and headwater streams, understanding the response of endangered species to reservoir operation, the effects of snowpack on our rivers and our recreational waterways. All key points that impact our way of life. I paid a visit to the center to go behind the scenes of all the hard work that is being done. Take a look. Daniele, we are here in part of the laboratories for the Center for Echohydraulic Research for University of Idaho. I have to ask you a very obvious question, but a very important one. How important is water to Idaho?
Hi Melissa, that's a very important question actually. Idaho its economy depends on water. We are an agricultural state and we have many cold water and gravel bed rivers that support our economy, but also they are home of many fish species that depends on the water. Water moves and flows in our rivers, and this water, as it moves, it forms the shape of the river, but also creates the habitat for those species.
How is the Center for Echohydraulic Research able to work to keep Idaho's waterways pristine, but also find that balance for these river systems and our communities?
Rivers are very complex, and to understand how they work, so we go first out in the field. We do observation, we collect data, and then we come back to the office, and what we do is analyze those data to develop a new hypothesis or to develop conceptual model and numerical model that can help us predict how the system will behave or respond. And then we come in the lab. So we come in these flumes, which is streams in a laboratory, and we test our modeling, making experiment, and then we recreate how the river moves. And those experiments then help us test if our modeling works properly, and we capture those process.
If you can explain a little more too about the CER laboratories. I'd mentioned we're in one of the laboratories right now by one of the experiments. But tell us how the work that you do here is helping you find solutions for Idaho and beyond.
In order to use water in a sustainable manner, both for our generation and the future generation, we need to balance our need, so for energy and food production, but at the same time for all the creatures that lives into the streams. And our research try to understand how process that occurs into the river impact that habitat. For instance, we are studying how the habitat of Chinook salmon, which are an iconic species in our streams, depends on the discharge, the geometry of the rivers, the water temperature, and the vegetation that grows on the banks and the floodplains.
There's so much to cover here, but if people are interested and they want to learn more about CER, and the amazing work being done here at U of I, where do they go?
We do have visit actually. We host students from actually elementary, so 6th grade up to high school. They come and visit our laboratory. We show them, even during an experiment like the one that is happening right now, we explain them how the river interacts with the groundwater and how so water can infiltrate into the stream bed and out again, how that pattern of depth and velocity can sustain the ecosystem, but at the same time how solute and substances that are in the water can be transported and they are processed by the water itself and those biochemical or microbial communities that are present there. For instance, from agricultural land, sometimes we have a fertilizer that gets into the river. And what we are studying is how nitrate, for instance, are transformed naturally in the rivers and becomes the nitrogen gas and leave the systems.
Wow.
So it's very important for us to balance the need for producing food, but at the same time is to keep our rivers healthy.
Yes, and that's where the community plays a big role, right? Awareness and education is really important.
Yes.
Yeah. Daniele, thank you so much. This has been fascinating. I'm fascinated.
You are very welcome.